Good morning, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Pitch Chronicles. I'm Uncle Taz here with Donald and Luca. And we have there's a lot to discuss today, and I think the deeper dive we're going to get into Cole returning to the mound. I really think we need to put the WBC finals into the forefront of the discussion because it was one. Congratulations to Venezuela, you won, awesome game, and there's been so much vitriol thrown Judge's way, like he was the only one that was swinging a bat yesterday.
He's the captain, man.
No, we're gonna get into that. Believe me, we're all frustrated. My narrative is, well, my frustration is the narrative that, Judge is the most horrific clutch player that has ever swung a bat. One, fuck you if that's how you feel. You're obviously not a Yankee fan and has not followed this guy's career. This is a WBC. This is not the World Series. In the narrative where, if Aaron Judge is on a championship team, they're not going to hoist the championship. There are a lot of other players on the squad that are in the same boat as Aaron Judge. Okay, and I want Harper, home run, awesome. Where were you the whole series, the whole competition? It's Bobby Witt. The best shortstop that you've ever seen. 0 RBIs. So it's where was Schwarber yesterday? When you have 3 hits throughout an entire 9-inning game, it's not one player's fault. I'm sorry. It can't be that way. Now, like Donald said, yes, you have the C on your chest. You are the captain. You are the one that everybody's throwing slings and arrows to. And if you want to be Captain America, you've got to step up in these spots. And Aaron Judge went over. And you're the one that wants to solidify your legacy as one of the best offensive players that we've ever seen. These are the games that you need to step up in. I'm sorry, Judge. I love you to death. I'm going to defend you every which way I can. But when your stat line says 0 for hits, it's hard to defend that. I'm going to throw it to Donald because Donald was very fired up yesterday. Last night into this morning, where he is all frazzled. And Donald, give us your take on the performance in the WBC.
Well, I thought the United States team embarrassed themselves, first of all. It was actually kind of like watching the Yankees in the playoffs. It was so lackluster and lackadaisical and mismanaged, and Aaron Judge was so poor in the biggest spot. It kind of reminded me of watching the Yankees in the playoffs. Let's be honest. Just in place of Aaron Boone was Mark DeRosa, and the whole lineup was just putrid, which was just like watching the Yankees in the playoffs. So it was just it was routine for me, but it was also disgusting because I didn't think the Team USA, I was going to say the Yankees, the Team USA, I don't think they came out with the requisite energy that befitted a major final of the WBC. I thought Venezuela brought it. I thought their fans brought it. I thought everything about Venezuela brought it. I thought they were fantastic. But for me, Team USA should be embarrassed. They backed in the first place because they had to rely on other teams to get in because they were asleep at the wheel. And they were very fortunate to get through the DR due to bad umpiring, let's face it. And they got their just deserves in the finals. So I'm sorry, I felt completely disconnected from Team USA this year, and I think they embarrassed themselves on the grandest stage. So I'll say that. As for Aaron Judge, some people are not going to like it. I don't care particularly, so I'm just going to say it as I see it. Now, first of all, I did say at the start of this WBC, it's like adding apples and pears regarding Aaron Judge does for the Yankees and what Aaron Judge does for the WBC. I believe that they're completely separate entities. However, what is connected is, to jump on Tat's point at the end, that's something I do agree with. If you got that captain's jersey, if you're wearing the C on your jersey and you are a leadership role, you're in a leadership role, not just as a Yankee, but as the freaking captain of the United States of America, there are extra responsibilities, whether you like it or not. And when your name is Aaron Judge and you want to be one of the greatest of all time, and we want to be celebrated and known and remembered and revered for decades and decades to come, then you have to start showing up in these moments. And he just does not do it. And it gets to the point now where you say, is he one of the greatest athletes you ever seen that just doesn't win? Because he's now in that category, because he just doesn't seem like he's got that extra winning mentality about him. He just doesn't have that extra juice, that extra fire that you need. He just doesn't have it. That's why I prefer Stanton. I'm not saying Stanton's a better player, but I prefer Stanton's mentality, because Stanton's tougher. Stanton loves the big moment. He thrives in the big moment, and it's all business with him. You know what I'm saying? It's all business. And with Aaron Judge, he just seems a little too cool for school, a little too cool, a little just very friendly. And I think that's nice. But when you're in a leadership role, nice doesn't cut it. Just look at Aaron Boone. Like, you need to have that little bit of extra toughness about you. Jeter had that toughness. He had that mentality. And Posada had that toughness. He had that mentality. Don Mattingly had that toughness, that mentality. Aaron Judge just doesn't seem to have it. He just seems to miss the mark. You saw his speech at the start of the WBC. I mean, that wouldn't inspire anybody. You know what I'm saying? That wouldn't inspire a farmer to herd goats, that speech. I mean, honestly, it was just like, all right, cool. Like, he just doesn't have that it factor. And it translates in the World Series. It translated most of his career in the playoffs. It translates. And in the entire WBC, it just translates. He just does not have that extra little bit. So you can be the greatest player you've ever seen and be rightly heralded as that. But if you don't have that extra bit of juice, then you just don't have it. And I don't see it. Does he have the Mamba mentality, Luca? The Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality? No, he doesn't.
No.
No. Does he have the Jeter win at all costs mentality? No, absolutely not. Does he have the Eli Manning, I don't care if the San Francisco 49ers are going to bury me, I'm coming back right up and I'm going to throw the game-winning touchdown. Does he have that mentality? No, he just does not have it. And I've seen it, and it doesn't mean he's not a great player. It doesn't mean that I don't respect and revere him as one of the greatest Yankees to ever play. But when you just don't have it, I can't. It's hard to speak it in the like language. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's in your mind's eye. You just know when someone has it, and Bryce Harper has it. Bryce Harper has it. Yes, he does. He has it. Aaron Judge is just a fantastic player. I just don't think he's a captain. I never thought he was a captain of the Yankees. I still don't. And I don't think he's captain of Team USA, and I still don't. Doesn't mean he's not the best player on the Yankees, which he is, and the best player on Team USA, which he is. It's just when you're a leader, you have to go that little bit extra. And I just don't think he has it. So come at me if you want, but I just don't see it. It just seems to me like he is that type of dude that, I mean, he's going to do some wonderful things, but when the game really needs you, 9 times out of 10, he's not going to come through.
Luca, floor is yours.
What he can do is change the narrative. He can literally change the narrative, and he hasn't done so. And I know people are complaining about, oh, well, he's being compared to James Harden. Oh, he's being compared to Josh Allen. He's being compared to Lamar Jackson. I think they're all relevant comparisons. I'm sorry. I think they're all relevant comparisons. Maybe there's another I'm missing, but let's call it what it is, folks. I mean, yes, as Donald said, WBC and the playoffs are apples to oranges. Judge was horrible in the WBC largely. I don't even know what his average was. He was awful yesterday. I get it. In fairness, it's a team sport. A lot of guys didn't hit yesterday. Bryce Harper was one of the only ones. Same with Bryce Terang. Schwarber struggled. Bregman struggled. Not to mention, Mark DeRosa made some dumbass decisions yesterday, benching Gunnar Henderson and Cal Raleigh, and then saving them for later on in the game when the game was essentially over. That was Aaron Boone Management 101. But what I will say is this about Aaron Judge. You are the captain of the New York Yankees, as Dallin has highlighted. You are the you are supposed to be the face of baseball, the face of Major League Baseball. And that's why some people say, Judge, he's a great player. He might be number 2, but I think Ohtani's number 1. That's what I think. That's I think partially the argument, which people will say Ohtani versus Judge. Mm-hmm. Judge's only postseason where you could arguably say he stepped up was last year.
Yeah.
And the only problem, one of the problems with that is like, I'm not going to say it was empty counting stats because that's kind of devaluing him completely. But it's like, did he drive in any runs? But in fairness, you have to have base runners on. But regardless of the point, it's just, I don't want to say it's been this way, In truth, my mother even called it out. We were watching a game from 2017. This was 9 years ago. And my mother said, I think Judge is afraid of the big moment. Now,
your mom knows ball. She's
a casual fan. She's partly why I became a Yankees fan, bought me all this stuff as a kid. But regardless, for her to call that out and be right 9 years later is insane. It's insane. And it's not like, oh, you're rooting against Judge, this, and that, third. Mark Feinsand had a tweet, and I'm going to pull this up. Feinsand, because he was talking about the struggles with Judge. I'm going to read this out. Aaron Judge had a 1.273 OPS in the postseason last year. He had a 798 OPS with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs in the ALCS and World Series in 2024. Has he had his share of struggles and times in October? Yes. Most players who have annual opportunities to do at some point. 29 other teams will gladly take him. That's not the point. Right. The point is not, would Yankee fans trade Aaron Judge? Absolutely not. The dude literally carried our offense last year and has done so in years prior. We would just like to see the return on an investment in the postseason. That's all. You're making $40 million. You have a section in right field named after you. And this is a part of the whole narrative. Listen, Tats, you could be tired of the narrative. Anybody in the chat could be tired of the narrative. It's all warranted. Look at the statistics. Watch the postseason games again. He constantly, I'm going to use this word, he constantly looks overmatched. That's the word I'm going to use. Overmatched in any type of high-pressure situation. And it's not to say that the dude hasn't hit walk-off home runs before or clutch hits in the regular season before. He has. But when it comes to the biggest stage, it's just not there for him. It's just not there, and I get it. People will
just look at his one World Series appearance.
Yeah, he was awful. He was awful. He was better in the ALCS against the Guardians, and not to take anything away from that, because Feinsand, interestingly enough, combined.
To be fair, that was mostly Soto and Stanton.
Yeah, you're right. The thing was with Feinsand's tweet, he combined the ALCS and the World Series, which I think there were 2 different performances personally. But at the end of the day, you can only use the lineup excuse so much. And I get it. There's going to be times where you get a base hit and you're not even going to be driven home. That's when you can point to and say, hey, you know what? This dude is trying his hardest for the team.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another thing that irked me and Don last night because we were watching the game together. Don't want to be this guy. Don't want to be this meticulous into the small details. Why is he smiling after he struck out looking?
It does annoy me. I wouldn't say smile, he smirks. It's just kind of like you got me, good job.
Let me tell you something right now as well. Remember those comments I mentioned back on, what was it, Monday or Friday, when he was talking about how World Baseball Classic fans are possibly better than baseball fans? Remember, he was comparing the two atmospheres, where World Baseball Classic's better than the World Series. That's not looking so great right now, is it? That kind of bit him in the ass.
That's why you have to watch your comments.
And I'm not trying to like take everything out of he says and like try to hit him hard and pick on him, but that's the truth. You're a superstar, as one of my friends on Twitter says. TK from Mad Good Nick Show called it 2 years ago. He's a part-time superstar. And I've been using that term lately. And unfortunately, Aaron Judge is a part-time superstar. For a guy that's the captain of the Yankees, Captain America, your country is counting on you, and you failed. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, again, last time I'll say it. It is a team sport. There were players that failed beside him. But at some point, you have to pick it up. You have to take it into your own hands.
And by the way, true superstars shoulder the load going, that's on me. Even if it isn't on him, most superstars go, that's on me, because they know that it's on them. They are the star of the show. And if Aaron Judge wants to be the face of sports, let alone baseball, he is going to have to start showing up in these moments. And it just doesn't make you a bad fan. It doesn't make you anything other than just telling the truth. Because if you look at USA in the final of the Olympics, or the men's Olympic team, they were about to lose to France until Steph Curry hit an incredible game-winning three-pointer. And that is what a superstar does. That's what a superstar does. He hits the big moment. That's what they do to bring glory for their country. And Aaron Judge just came up soft and short. And that's the reality. I don't know what you want me to say to fans that are Aaron Judge fans. Doesn't mean I don't support Aaron Judge. It just means that as a superstar, you have to have that extra. You have to take the blame when it doesn't work out in your favor. And his career to date shows that in the postseason, he just isn't as monstrous as he is in the regular season. He just isn't. The stats don't lie.
Yeah,
last season aside.
I want to throw a comment, because the two of you are killing it right now at your takes. That's why I'm just kind of sitting back and just letting you guys cook. Is you're right. I want to throw a comparison, and you two as avid football fans, I'm still in my rookie season. As far as football fandom, I want to compare Judge to a quarterback that is absolutely outstanding when the regular season is going, and has had postseason moments but never brought it all home. Would you compare Judge to a Josh Allen?
Oh, I mentioned that. Yeah. People were comparing him on Twitter to Josh Allen. I completely agree with that.
Actually, I didn't even see that. So that was okay. So I'm not the only one that thought that. But you're also getting this narrative. It's like, guys, look, yes, we're aggravated, we're frustrated because we got to see all the headlines, all the hot takes on the WBC and Judge, but would you rather him on a different team? Like, a lot of fans, not us, look, we're frustrated because we support him so badly that when these moments come and the headlines come out, it just boils our blood that we have to talk about this, right? But a lot of, I said to Luca, Donald, before you come on, I heard narratives online and on Sports Talk that Judge, why, that they don't even want him on their roster because he falls up short. And I heard one caller on the fan on the overnight saying that maybe it's not Boone's fault that we haven't won the World Series, it's Judge. Like, that's where people's mentality is going.
I don't know about that.
Are you that fucking stupid? Are you that stupid? It's my turn, Donald. Are you that fucking stupid that you want to say that that Aaron Judge should not be playing baseball for your team because of a World Baseball Classic? Yeah. Are you serious? You people need to stop. Yes, we were carrying a lot of pride going into this World Baseball Classic after coming off the Olympics with the hockey teams. And we did a whole show, and I called it. Not McMonagle on the fan. I called it first. There was no way that Judge was coming out a winner, no matter how the results came out. He was either going to come through, and the narrative would be, but he can't do it for the Yankees, or he's going to fail and be like, see, he's not clutch. So enough. I'm so sick of it. Aaron Judge is one of the best hitters, pure hitters, no juice needed, that this game has seen in a very, very long time. So if you think that he doesn't deserve to win those pinstripes because of all of this, and because that he hasn't won a World Series yet, you guys need to check yourselves. And I'm going to throw it away because I already lost my voice.
Well, yeah, two things can be true. He's one of the greatest players you're ever going to see, but he also just does not show up in the postseason to the same extent. I mean, you look at it in comparison. You compare Aaron Judge's numbers to Stanton's numbers in the postseason, they don't come close. Stanton's OPS is almost 1,000 in the postseason. And Judge's is barely 800 OPS. And Stanton has more home runs, a better batting average, more RBI. He's better in the postseason. There are some players that show up in the postseason and some players that just don't. And honestly, Judge has to take the responsibility as captain of the Team USA. You've got to take responsibility because, I mean, you look at the U.S. hockey team, you look at the U.S. basketball team. They show up in the big spots when required, and I didn't see it from this year's team. They just seemed like they were just gliding through. And I didn't feel any resonance, any connection. I didn't say, let's go, USA, baby. I didn't feel it. I just felt like I was watching an Aaron Boone Yankee team. Just going through it. Just, if we win, cool. If not, we're good. We'll get him next year. I got that feeling. And I'm sorry, Aaron Judge comes across as that type of guy. You've seen him. You've seen him, man. You've seen him. You've seen him speak after these games, these big games. He doesn't have that fire. And that's okay. Some people are not born leaders, and I just don't think he's a leader in that regard. He's not like a fiery leader. He leads by example, for sure. He leads by example. Definitely agree. But in terms of rallying, in terms of just, I'm going to take you guys all the way to the very, very top, whether it's a World Series or whether it's a gold medal. I'm doing this. He just doesn't have that personality. I've never seen it from him. And it's been a long time. We've watched him for a long time. So if he doesn't have it now, then when will he ever? Because at this point, Aaron Judge just doesn't stack up with other Yankees when it comes to winning. He might have them beat in statistics, but baseball ain't all about statistics. All that matters is the silverware. And Jeter has him beat 10 times over, 1 million times over, 1 trillion times over. He just had that extra juice.
I think comparing it to Jeter is a little unfair. One, the game was played a little different then.
No, but I'm talking about leadership. Captain to captain. That's my comparison. Captain to captain. That there's no comparison.
Luca?
I was going to add 2 comments from Chris Northrop real quick. She says, Donald, how many at-bats does Stan have in the postseason? I don't know the number, but there's plenty of sample size that Stan has in the postseason. That is not even close. I mean, Judge has had more at-bats, probably, but Stanton has had probably comparable, and he has done a lot better, despite not being the captain. Now, the question is, I do ask, in all seriousness, I know Tats was talking about it, what do we classify? And I'm trying to be objective here, of course. What is classified as hate by Yankee fans for Aaron Judge? What is classified as hate, so to say. Despite there's got to be hate or
love. Yeah.
hate, love. What's that? What valid criticism? Like what's disguised as hate? Like that you have. I just want to know that clarification because, like, if we're gonna sit here and say that being a Judge hater is calling out his inadequacies in the postseason or whatever, then that's not hate. That's just being realistic.
It never doesn't have to be so black and white, like love and hate.
I don't know.
And that's what annoys me about this modern world now. You either love or you hate. And this would translate as Donald's a hater. Not in the least. I'm just calling it as I see it. You can love a player and just still say he doesn't just have that leadership quality that I look for in a player that other superstars in other sports or in this current sport have that he just doesn't. And that's okay to be objective. I think objectivity is important, especially on this podcast.
Yes. Chris clarifies this, saying he should be off the cover of the show. Okay. Well, I didn't say that.
There was another comment that he should be taken. There's narrative that they should change the cover of the show because of his performance. And that's her response to that comment.
Yeah. I'm not that far out.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's the extreme. It's the extreme, vitriol. Let's throw away the word hate. Hate's a bad word. It's the vitriol towards Judge. I think that really has the three of us all fired up. And is kind of steering our opinions the way they are. It's and like Jason said, and I think Donald brought it up earlier. Last year, Lucas said it too. Actually, we've all said it. His postseason last year, you started to see that ship starting to steer in the right direction. And I think, because he did show up. And when you see the performance that he had yesterday, it's like, oh shit, not again. He just couldn't do it. And that was kind of that's what made me think of Josh Allen. Where
it's a great comparison.
And I really, I'm actually, I don't make a lot of good comparisons. I don't have the best talking point. I think I hit the nail on that one.
You did.
You did.
And look, am I going to say that that Aaron Judge was not one of the focal points of why this team lost last night? I can't say that. But how many, everyone's like, oh, well, Harper showed up. Well, yeah, well, how many what's his World Series, what's his postseason stats? Because he hasn't won shit either.
I mean, it's kind of
he hasn't had the opportunity
player to a Yankee player because he has taken them very, very far.
When?
But we can get those numbers for you.
I'll pull up Bryce Harper's postseason numbers.
I don't know.
For the record, they were in the World Series in 2022.
Exactly. So it's not like he's done shit, and there's different expectations when you're a Philly than a Yankee.
Well, you're Bryce Harper. You were deemed one of the faces of the league.
Okay, so I got his numbers here. Postseason batting, his OPS is 986. Judges is around about 800. His slug is around about 596. Judges around about 400-ish. His on-base percentage is almost 400. Aaron Judge's is around about 320, something like that, 340. So actually, what has he done in the postseason? Quite a freaking lot. Batting average 274. Aaron Judge's is about 224.
So let's have fun with this. Right.
There you go. So I'm sorry, Bryce Harper is a better postseason player than Aaron Judge, and there's no question about it.
I mean,
so if Philly offered up a trade straight up, would you trade Judge for Harper right now?
No, that's not the argument. It's not the argument.
I mean, it's having fun with the with.
No, but it's adding apples and pears. My argument is he should have been the guy beside Aaron Judge.
Oh yeah,
that's on Brian Cashman.
Oh, we could circle back to that. That's no problem.
There's that argument, but I'm not saying I have one over the other. once again, I am not saying that one player is a better player than the other. I'm just saying in the biggest moment, Bryce Harper clears Aaron Judge. Just as I said, in the biggest moment, Stanton clears Aaron Judge. The numbers are there for a reason. Doesn't mean that Aaron Judge isn't a phenomenal player, one of the greatest players, but in the biggest moments, who shines? It tends to be Bryce Harper rather than Aaron Judge. But if you're doing a trade 1-to-1, of course not. Bryce Harper's older. He isn't the fielder that Aaron Judge is. He doesn't have the all-around game that Aaron Judge has. He doesn't have the arm that Aaron Judge has. I'm not doing anything stupid. I'm just saying in the biggest moments when their team needs them, Bryce Harper shows up. And that I think deserves credit. And yes, he was better. He would have been a better option as captain than Aaron Judge, because for me, leadership goes more than just being the best player on the team, which Aaron Judge is. I'm not saying he isn't. Of course he is. He's the best player on the Yankee team by a million miles, trillion miles. It's not close, so he's that much better than everybody else. But doesn't mean you should be captain, because as a captain, you have to lead by example, but you also have to have a bit of fire about you. You have to have the balls to go to hold court and say, "Now you didn't step up. That's not what we expect as USA player or Yankee player or insert whatever jersey you're wearing. This is not what I expect. Be better."
Well,
that kind of thing. That's a captain. That's why when there's closed door meetings, do you see Aaron Judge holding court? No, it's Stanton that holds court. Yeah. There are certain guys that have leadership mentality, leadership qualities. Aaron Boone does not have leadership qualities as a manager. He's just a really good guy, a really personable guy, and a smart guy. And some people like that. I don't like that as a manager. I like something more. And when it comes to captains, it's the same thing. I need someone that has that will to win, that hatred to lose. What is it? What's that saying? Everybody loves to win. I don't want to hear anyone that says, "Oh, I love to win," because everybody wants to win. Who hates to lose? Who feels it in their bones when they lose? Yep. You saw it in Posada when the Yankees lost. It like broke a bone inside of him. Jeter, you wouldn't see him for months because he was depressed and he was upset and he was angry. That is someone that hates to freaking lose. Aaron Judge, when he strikes out, he has that smirk and goes, "Hey, good job. Good job. You got me this time. We'll see you next time." And that is just not, for me, the mentality of someone that hates to freaking lose. And that's what I need from a captain. Aaron Judge doesn't have it.
I know we had a discussion a while ago. I want to circle it back for anybody that's new. When we had posed this question when Judge was signed as that free agent, and Luca wasn't with us at that point. So I'll go to him first with this. Would you have rather him? I think that they threw the C on his chest, because they wanted to make sure he did not go back to go home to San Francisco.
Agreed.
Was that the right move? Because, and I'm bringing this up because DeRosa, he's the one that says you're going to be the team captain. It's not like he said, "I'll only play the WBC if I'm a captain." I don't think that's his ego. And it was the media that really threw that Captain America narrative on him, before he even earned it. I will state that. We all deemed him Captain Judge, Captain Judge, Captain America. It was an easy narrative. The media, threw that on, through that in all laps. It's not like Judge came out, dressed up as Captain America with it, wielding, the whole costume. But, is this captaincy, is the fact that he's the captain becoming an overblown narrative?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. Donald knows my opinion on this. I might have mentioned this before on this channel. I thought the captaincy was forced. That's a very unpopular opinion. I thought the captaincy
Okay, I
was
share it.
110% forced. And I don't think it was because, they didn't want to lose with San Francisco. Sure, maybe that was a part of the negotiations. Hey, we're going to name you captain. Then people forget how badly Brian Cashman butchered the negotiations. He embarrassed Aaron Judge in the media. He did not sign him long-term prior to that point. I remember, going to opening day in 2022 and seeing the news on my phone. Yankees and Aaron Judge do not agree to an extension. And then Brian Cashman outs him to the media to publicly embarrass him. Because what have we learned about Brian Cashman? He has to control the narrative about everything and anything regarding the Yankees. So he outs his captain to the media. Brian Cashman essentially would have let him walk for peanuts and pennies on the dollar if it wasn't, for once, Hal Steinberg giving Aaron Judge a call from his yacht saying, hey, I'll give you anything and everything. That's the contract where he is now. And Cashman had his ego bruised. And now, obviously, Cashman still has an ego. That has not changed. But people forget, and again, it's not to hate on Aaron Judge, so to say, by some people.
Not at all.
But that negotiation was so bad. That negotiation period was so bad that the Yankees had to do public PR publicity stunts to try to cover up how bad of a job they did. That's the truth. I never thought he was a captain. I tried buying into it. As Donald said, he's a leader by example. He's a silent guy. But where is that? You need that little, I guess you call it asshole every now and then. Like, I've only seen him do that once. And if you go back to 2024, Marcus Stroman got pissed off at Gleyber Torres for making an error at second base. What did Aaron Judge do? He didn't go to Gleyber Torres and say, hey, you can't do that. He went to Marcus Stroman and say, hey, don't show up teammates, which was very interesting, but not to the point. When do you see Judge trying to fire up a team?
No.
And listen, it's fine to be the silent guy. It's just like when people say, oh, you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Oh, really? Because clearly whatever is happening or isn't happening behind closed doors is not penetrating to the Yankee leadership, or is penetrating down to the players. It's a whole culture of complacency. Right. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to this quote again. Game 1 of the World Series, the Yankees lose on a walk-off grand slam for Freeman. A loss is a loss. I'm sorry. That's not.
It doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it for me. And I have to jump on your point, man. When Brian Cashman destroyed the negotiations with Aaron Judge, Brian Cashman should have been fired then and there.
Yes.
That should have been the first PR move that you make. Brian Cashman, you are no longer fit for purpose because you almost let the best player we've had in a generation walk out the door. That was a fireable offense. Any GM that would walk up to your best player, lie to his face and say that he wasn't going to make the negotiations public, and then B, try and win the PR war against Aaron Judge by saying, oh, Aaron Judge is selfish and greedy, which is what Brian Cashman was trying to indicate. All those things are a fireable offense, and that's how they should have handled it. You fire Brian Cashman, then go to Aaron and go, I'm sorry, man. That dude has an ego about him. That's not acceptable. Let's sit down and let's start afresh. That's how you win the PR battle, right? But Hal doesn't have the balls to do that. So he's trying to keep everybody happy. And that's why the Yankees have never taken a step forward, because he's trying to keep Brian happy with his enormous ego. Plus, he's trying to placate Aaron Judge, who took a discount to come back, which he didn't have to do. So for those thinking that I have some kind of hatred to Aaron Judge, or I don't respect him, or I don't think he's the best, bullshit. I think he is the best player in baseball. No issues about it. I'll happily say that. I'll say it from the rooftops. I think he is. Talent for talent, I think he's got it in droves. I think he's a great person. I think he's a great ambassador to baseball. I think he's a great ambassador to the game, and I think he's a great ambassador to sports in general because he's someone that kids can look up to. He's someone that works hard every day, plays hard every day, and performs every day. And he does it with a smile on his face, and he does have that kind of ability where kids want to look up and say, I want to be the next Aaron Judge. And that is a wonderful thing, and there's not enough of it in this society, right? So I have nothing but respect for him. But when it comes to leaders, there are extra responsibilities, and that is where he falls short. You think of leaders in other sports. I'm not an ice hockey fan, but you know that Wayne Gretzky was a leader, the leader of all leaders. You know, you think of, and then you think of Kobe, you think of LeBron, you think of those guys that they just Michael Jordan. You have those names that transcend the sport. They all show up when their team needs the most, and he just doesn't do it enough. Occasionally he does, but just not enough. And I thought that he was a symptom rather than a problem of Team USA, but he was a symptom of the problem. And he is a symptom of the problem of the Yankees too. But he's not the problem. Brian Cashman is the problem. But he certainly does have some element of responsibility because, again, when the lights were the brightest in the World Series, he had to rely on Juan Soto and Big G to bail his ass out because he was dropping balls in the outfield. Just calling it as it is. That's the truth, right? And when in Team USA game, who was the one that got the big hit? It was Bryce Harper, not him. So again, he has to wear it. Doesn't mean I don't think he's one of the greatest to ever do it. He just has to wear it. That's what happens, that extra responsibility. And to Uncle Tat's point, I couldn't think of a better comparison than Josh Allen to Aaron Judge because no one would, with a straight face, wouldn't say that Josh Allen's probably pound for pound the most talented quarterback in all of football. He's got the arm. He's got the toughness.
He's got MVPs.
He's got the MVPs. He can run like hell. Like, Josh Allen is unbelievable. And then you can take it a step further because not often do you watch a Josh Allen playoff game and go, that was Josh Allen's fault. It's normally you would say, I really wish that their GM would actually get him some help because he doesn't have any receivers to throw to. And then it's the same thing with Aaron Judge. Because a lot of the time in the postseason, it's not always his fault. A lot of the time you go, I really wish that they would put better players around Aaron Judge. And they just don't do it. So once again, there's a great comparison to be made between Josh Allen and Aaron Judge. Pound for pound, talent-wise, the best in their respective sports. But when the chips are down and it's winning time, championship time, they just don't have it. And Aaron Judge just doesn't have it. It could change. Yeah.
The chat, you guys are on fire. Like, you guys are as fired up as we are. We love every minute of it. But I'm gonna point out with Hillingman Hart, Aaron Judge had help with Soto. Now he's had Stanton. Like, why is Stanton so dismissed when it comes to Yankees playoff runs? We wouldn't have the runs that we had if it was not for Stanton.
That's another argument.
So
that's another
I think that you're being a little you're being a little hard on on Stanton on that one.
Shall we bring up the comments, Tats? I think everybody deserves some of their comments to be read out.
Yep,
they've been so great.
I think that's how. Let's go through some of the comments. That's how we'll finish out the show. But just let me get into that. Friday is a heads up Friday because it's the last Friday show before the regular season. So it'll be our final off-season open panel. So make sure that you clear your schedule for Friday. We want a packed house. We don't want to even have time to get a word in because you guys are killing it in the open panel. So don't forget, that will be happening on Friday. It is the final open panel Friday as we get ready for the regular season. And he follows up with that. Healing Men Heart. Sting's breaking down. He ain't that guy anymore. Father Time always wins. Let's see what happens this postseason. Yes, last postseason he did fall a little short. We call that, we said it. But he's been very, very clutch when it comes to the postseason. He does step up.
And
If
it
it
doesn't take away
happens
from
2
what
years
he's
in a
done
row,
before.
then we can start talking about maybe there's a decline.
And it doesn't take away from what he's done before. So,
John's back. John, hope you had a good vacation. Of course, we got to get to Issy. U.S. athletic exceptionalism is passe. We saw it first in the NBA, now the MLB on the world stage. The good old boy system is not enough anymore. The Yanks suffer the same Achilles heel. What's your thoughts on that?
Luca?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a mentality change, unfortunately. But as Donald said, it pointed in recent years when U.S. was losing to France, Steph Curry picked the team off his back.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's, like, in some aspects, a mentality change into how. I mean, U.S. as we mentioned, Team USA was not taking this series, this whole WBC series seriously at all, and that started
with Gerrit Cole. He just was like, "Nah, I'm not going to pitch in the final. I'm going to show up in my ice hockey uniform." I rate him lower than Aaron Judge. After that, I'm pissed at Aaron Judge, but for me, what Skibble did was much worse than Aaron Judge.
That's fair.
Yeah, at least Judge showed up. Skibble's like, I'm going to pitch. I'm not going to pitch.
He's like, no, I got
Skibble was playing double dutch. He's in, he's out. He's in, he's out. Like, he doesn't know what he wants to do.
Yeah. So basically, it also mentality. Who was that partly on? The manager, Mark DeRosa. Everybody's touting him as this good coach. Well, yeah, you're pretty shitty with the, I guess, lineups and everything involved. I mentioned earlier in the show, Gunnar Henderson, Cal Raleigh on the bench in your finals. Yeah. Insane. Absolutely, completely counterintuitive. So that was bad. But
what Mark DeRosa did was egregious. One of the worst managerial jobs you could actually do. It was amazingly mismanaged. Chris Northrup.
The one that could have done worse was Boone.
Oh yeah, I don't even think he did worse. I genuinely don't. I think DeRosa's on an island to himself because that's insane. He completely screwed everything up. He didn't get anything right. Chris Northrup. I'm going to take exception to any Judge crap. Healing Men's Hearts. Let's hope Cole doesn't re-injure himself. Right, so he's talking about Cole. We'll get into that in a bit. Judge has reclaimed his title as Aaron Fudge. So Healing Men's is not happy about that. Welkin Gunther. In leadership roles, you will take blame or credit on a lost win. That's how it is. This is why people turn down leadership roles.
Amen.
Welkin is spot on. Healing Men's Hearts agrees. Welkin is right. Wearing that C on your chest means you have to take accountability. Exactly. Amen. FJ. Venezuela played for love of country. The U.S. didn't take it as seriously. Completely agreed. Chris Northrup. I don't think Judge plays for personal accolades. He's a team player all the way around. There's no argument there. FJ Judge doesn't seem to be able to seize the big moments. I agree. Welkin. I like Judge, but he's far from my favorite Yankee of all time. I like winning too much. I think me and Welkin are very much locked in, and Luca as well. I think the three of us are locked in on your points right there, my guy. Luca?
Yes. Also, as well, Issy Devo says DeRosa had no business coaching that team, absolutely none, and that's the good old boy system I'm referring to. Yeah, I got your point. You're referring to it as a bit of an insult, and that's the truth. Unfortunately, some of greatness thrust upon him. DeRosa does need to take the blame. I think someone asked him, "Would you do the WBC USA again?" He was like, "Yes, I would." Which is unfortunate for WBC because he looked like a total clown this year.
No, he looked incompetent. He looked in over his head. It would be like I can't even think of a comparison. It would be like somebody from the streets who doesn't know baseball, who is asking to manage a team of superstars. He just didn't know what to do. Old Sarge, when the games really need him, he's a non-factor. Old Sarge regarding Aaron Judge. He's right. Armand, per StatMuse, Aaron Judge in WBC elimination games, 2 of 11 with 6 strikeouts, no RBIs. The stats say it all. Good stat find, Armand. I completely agree. Great. Armand, you can always trust. We're going to have to ask him to be our stat guy.
Yes.
Whenever we're doing a discussion, Armand is on the stats like nothing on earth. So you definitely get the stat award. When we bring the awards back, Armand, you are the stat king. Old Sarge, you could say the Judge is afraid of the big moment, or that he wants to perform so badly that he just locks up. That makes it worse. I agree with that. Armand, my guy, the clip of his speech at the start of the WBC is going to haunt him as well. Dude, that was an awful speech. That would be like a
that's
speech.
like the whole tone.
It did. That speech was like something you get in the office. You know, it was just like
every other locker room was having a fiesta and then having a siesta.
Exactly. What are you to sleep?
It did. I was like, damn. We've got so many good stats here. Welkin, I'm not a Judge hater, just massively disappointed. Exactly. I'm not angry, Judge. I'm just disappointed.
Yes.
But there's been so many great comments. John the Beagle Dad says, I enjoyed the games. It was nice seeing a non-MLB manager of Venezuela beat professionals. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. I have nothing but respect for Venezuela, and I'm glad they won. They deserved it. They wanted it. They played like they were playing for their country, and I really wish that Team USA would. That's my takeaway from that. John the Beagle Dad says, never hire Aaron's again. Aaron Judge doesn't have it, neither does Aaron Boone.
I hope you're exaggerating on that one.
FJ points out that Cashman wanted Judge to walk. Exactly. And that's exactly my point. Healing Man's Heart says, agreed, Donald, that was a fireable offense regarding how Cashman handled Judge. And Chris Northrup says, we need to have a conversation about what a captain is, and specifically what a Yankee captain is and what they aren't. That's a great point, Chris, and maybe that's something you could bring up in your show. But we could touch on it.
Yeah, just so, I don't want to exaggerate on her comment, but I will let her exaggerate, because next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. will be the next Short Porch show, and the focal point will be, it's going to be all Aaron Judge talk. So make sure you tune in to Chris Northrup on the Short Porch, and check out her show that will be scheduled for Thursday. So next Thursday. So with that, Donald, you're killing it with going through the comments. Let's get through a couple of more, and then we will close out with a quick discussion, because we are short on time, with Gerrit Cole making a start today and the expectation.
Got my boy Issy, who agrees with most of my points here in the chat, but also he says here, the irony of everything that Venezuela has been through as a country to beat the USA has a meaning to them. We will never understand. Hope they could smile for a minute through all their pain. Well said, Issy. They really played for love of country, and I think that's something that was great to see. I saw the same with the Dominican Republic, by the way. They played for love of country, and they got robbed by a drunk umpire. So I have to say that I'm not going to be too forthcoming with the compliments of my countrymen, because they really, really let me down, and I'm pissed about it, to be fair. I didn't think I would be, but I just didn't like their mentality. They just seemed too chilled. It's like, we got the whole season ahead. It's cool.
Cushy. Way too cushy.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. Didn't like that mentality. But the final point here before we get into Gerrit Cole. We're gonna have to change the title to this show. By the
Yeah,
way.
I'm already working on that.
Yeah, but Chris, I'm sure Chris is gonna expand on that on her next show. I'm sure, but
Yes.
she
Yeah, it's
asks the
tomorrow night.
question. She asks the question: what is the definition of a captain, and specifically what a Yankee captain is and what they aren't? So let's open it up to the panel. Let's start with Uncle T and Luca, and I'll give him my point.
I think a captain needs to be, one. It's not for everybody. It's an honor that should be bestowed upon a player that has shown that, through all the adversity, they could rise above all the pressure, and needs to be able to command the locker room when the manager has his back turned.
Yep.
And with that definition, maybe Judge doesn't exactly hit the nail on the head of what my qualifications would be for a captain, but I do think that he does command the room. I just don't think he really captivates the team and drives his point home.
Agreed.
And the way you drive your point home is if you're going to rally your team, your teammates, to reach an expectation, you have to have the ability and the mindset, that mentality, not just the physical attributes, the mentality to practice what you preach. And I think that's the part of the captaincy that Judge, is that I would, in any draft, I would take him number 1 overall. He's
Amen.
that player.
Oh yeah, of course.
But that's where he falls short of that captaincy. Look, you got to be able. You have to have the physical and emotional ability to practice what you preach, and that's where Judge falls short.
I completely agree. And to expand on my definition of being a captain, essentially what Tat said, commanding the locker room when the manager isn't there. You need somebody second in command. Now, it's probably not going to be somebody on the coaching staff. So you need that second in command as the captain. You don't have to be loud like a Billy Martin or a Reggie Jackson. No, absolutely not. But you got to have your voice has to be heard, has to be felt, as Tats was saying. You don't have, as I said, you don't have to be loud. You don't have to be completely mute. You want to know, you want to be like the principal when you walk into the lunchroom. Kids sit there quiet. Quiet lunchroom, that means they respect him. You garner the respect of your teammates that way by saying as little as possible. They already know what you stand for. If you don't have to talk that much, that means they respect you, they honor you, they know what you're about. And you also, on the field, got to come through in those big moments. That's what the captaincy is all about, whether it's Team USA, the Yankees, that's what the captaincy is all about. Commanding respect in the locker room. And I'm not going to say that Aaron Judge isn't respected. I think he is. But in terms of a leader and him getting on your toes when you do some stupid shit, I don't think he's that guy. I'm sorry.
Right. So I agree. And Duran, I do want to say something about Duran's comment. My comment is I just don't want to put his then.
I don't know if you noticed the shot face.
There are priorities here, and what Duran says is far more important. So I'll finish my point regarding the captain question. So as a Yankee captain, you're not just representing the people that are on the roster in front of you. You're also representing the 100 years of the history of that organization before.
Yes.
You are also representing the same jersey that Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Jeter, you name it, Yogi Berra, your favorites, Mickey Mantle, have all worn before. So there are extra responsibilities when you are the Yankee captain. So a lot of what Aaron Judge does, he hits the nail on the head. He's a great ambassador for the Yankees, great ambassador for the sport, and he is someone that people would look up to, right? Not a question about it. He does that right, and he leads by example. He does that right. But as I said before, when you are the captain of the Yankees, 27-time championships are king with the Yankees.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lower my expectations because the Yankees have lowered theirs. That's just not what I do. That's just not me. I'm not going to lower my expectations as a fan just because the Yankees have forced themselves to lower theirs. The Yankees have forced their way to lower their expectations. For me, it's championships. Captains win. Champions win. Champions have that extra thing about them that they just have that will never stop them from going to the very, very top. And what did I say before? I don't like someone that just likes to win. Everybody wants to win. Who hates to lose? And the captains that I've seen in the past as Yankees, namely Jeter, hated to lose. Hated it. Hated it. And I just don't see that with Aaron Judge. Judge smirks when he strikes out in the big moment. And he doesn't smirk because he's happy about it. He smirks because it's like, oh, good job. You guys got me. Well, we'll get you the next time. And that's not my mentality. You need to have fire. You need to have that drive. You need to throw your body on the line, everything on the line to win championships. Aaron Judge just ain't that guy. He just has never been that guy. And until he is that guy, then I'm going to keep saying it. And if I was the Yankee owner, I would have paid Judge whatever he wanted, of course, but I wasn't going to give him the captaincy. And for me, Jeter was the captain, is always the captain. He was number 2. His nickname is Captain. He should have kept the captaincy for as long as it took until Aaron Judge wins a couple of championships. Then we can have a conversation. Until then, that was it. And I just feel like the Yankees moved on too quickly and too swiftly to give him a captaincy that he hasn't merited. He just hasn't merited it. And it doesn't mean he's not a great player. It doesn't mean that his statistics aren't incredible, but I'm all about championships. And that's what you are as a Yankee captain. You got to win championships. He just doesn't. Until then, there's no conversation to have. He's just not the captain for me. And captains in general, I mean, Issy had a really good definition in fairness to him. Like, and you could probably say that. Captain gets the praise when you win and all the blame when you lose. Full stop. That's their responsibility. And I completely agree. Just Jason Custodio, I think a captain provides purpose and motivation to accomplish a goal, which is winning. So yes, that for me is why he isn't the greatest captain. He did add the caveat after. And that's it. And Healing Man's Heart says, preach, Luca. As he says, captain is earned, not given.
I agree with that.
And Duran says, preach, Donald. That's just it. And that's for me the definition of what a captain is. And then, hey, when it comes to resonating with people, that speech, although it's going to be overblown, you watch that speech and you're like, yeah, he ain't a captain. He just isn't a leader of men. I think a captain has to have a leader of men mentality about him. He just doesn't have that leader of men about him. He just isn't that guy. He's just a nice guy. As I say, nice guys don't win. So that's where I'm at with it. But great comments. Let's talk a little bit about Duran, Uncle Taz.
I was going to say, I want to bring up one. We're going to close it out with Duran. No, we're running out of time to talk about Cole, but there's still Friday. We can break down how the outing went. But somebody that we usually have a little back and forth with, I do want to point this out. This is all fair criticism. Hate it when people are mad that we hold Judge to a different standard when he's the captain of the Yankees. Can you know better? And everybody else. We're going to call it as we see it.
Yeah.
We love Aaron Judge. I love that he's a Yankee. And it would kill me if he was on another team. But that doesn't mean that he gets a free pass for any blemish on his record. It doesn't matter who it is. We're going to call it out. I'm never going to sugarcoat anything just to preserve, an extra view or a like.
Exactly.
I'm going to call it as I see it.
Amen.
So, all right. So, let me get back
Tell
up
me also,
here.
you're telling Strowman not to be angry at Glaber making errors isn't because of management. Judge is just too nice. That was Luca's point.
That's right. I did. Yeah.
No. But we did get, we were missing him earlier. Doran, hello, I've arrived. Dodged a Iranian rocket today. Sort of thing coming out of the sky and get intercepted. And obviously he is alive. Doran, look, it's fucking terrible. That's terrible. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Hope everybody in your family is safe. Unfortunately, where you are, this is the grim reality of the world we're living in, and it's very depressing. But very glad you're okay.
Yeah.
And
It's really hard to talk baseball after that because they're
so that, yeah,
that's exactly. Yeah, it's just sort of like the great thing is that we have this as a distraction to the awfulness which is going on right now. And Duran, I mean, how can I say be safe because you're not in control of that, but everything you can do, stay safe. Thanks so much for letting us know that you're okay. It's a sobering reality of what's going on. I hate it, and I hope you're okay. Your family's okay, and hope that we can get a resolution to this as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Same.
we're Luca.
I was gonna say, same, Duran. Hope your family, hope you could, hope your family is safe. Hope you are safe. Most importantly.
Thank God.
Yeah, and kind of. I'll close it out with this. Let this last minute be a reminder that we're all. Sports is supposed to be a distraction for everything else that's coming around. And there were a lot of narratives around with the WBC and and baseball in general and sports in general.
Yeah.
Sports is an outlet. Same thing with any form of entertainment. And if we wanted to get the news, we turn on the news channel. When we want sports and to be entertaining and see a little competition, then we'll turn on ESPN or whatever networks you prefer. But Doran, glad that you're able to still find time to come on here. One, let us know how you're doing, and being honest with open with us to share what you were going through. We're here. We hope to see you on Friday. Because the last thing we want is anybody to not be around. It's I don't know how else to put it, but glad that you have this family to come and share yourself with, good or bad. But hopefully you rewind this and get a little. Look, I love Doran. He's awesome.
Yeah,
me too.
Donald.
No, exactly, man. It's just, and honestly, it sounds silly, but the fact that you wanted to log in and say hello and make sure that we know that you're okay it says a lot because I think a lot of other people would have been just too scared to even do anything after that. So
yeah,
shout out to you, man. That takes some balls to be like
that's
on.
That's a captain. That's a captain.
Yeah, that's a captain. We talk captains. That's a captain. 95% interception rate. Sounds like Justin Fields is a Jet. Is that too soon?
Oh shit.
At least he's off the team.
All right. On that note, that's going to wrap things up for us today. Hope everybody did enjoy the show, and all the ranting, the raving, the brutal honesty. Appreciate every single one of you that were in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family. The stream is on the corner. We'll be back on Friday. It will be the final open panel Friday before the regular season. So make sure you tune in and get your cameras ready. So with that, wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Play harder than Judge does.